In this video, we talked to Ken Volk, the founder of AutoUp. He shares how he went from doubting if cold email could actually scale a business to scaling the business that he's working for to an exit and him starting his own B2B lead gen agency using cold email. We talk about why he uses cold email as a mechanism to get in front of his ideal customers, how he's been able to book calls with over half of the Fortune 500 companies, why he uses Instantly as his choice for sending cold emails, and tips on how you can have the same success that Ken has had with cold email. This is an awesome conversation with Ken and packed with value. Check it out. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another case study from Instantly with my dude, Ken Volk of AutoUp. What's up, Ken? How are we doing?
Hey, doing good, man. Good to be here.
Good to be here with you. Super pumped to share your story and hear from you and have you talk to the viewers about your success with cold email and just the success of your business and how you've been able to implement it to create something awesome. So why don't you just give people a quick little intro about who you are, what you do, where you are, how long you've been doing it, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So I founded AutoUp 3 years ago, which was man, right about the same time Instantly came to be, which was like the perfect time, right? More recently, shipped an email infra product called Mailrun. Man, we just went live in a very like sort of soft way last week. We've got Microsoft Azure inboxes domains, but and those were great, by the way. We can talk more about that later, I suppose too. But no, going before that, like I've always been an entrepreneur, right? So I started my own company 2009 in Montana, where I'm originally from, but it was brick and mortar, boring business, convenience store, right? So had it in a really tiny location. It was doing great for a few years. We relocated it, expanded it. I held it for almost a decade and was able to sell it for a little over 10x, which was crazy for retail, right? It was awesome. Gave me the space to like hang and chill for a couple of years. I like didn't work deliberately for a while, moved to the East Coast, and then yeah, and that's where I got into cold email because okay, it wasn't enough to retire for good, but like I became biz dev director for this company called SourcePad, and SourcePad's like this great company. It was we made websites and mobile apps like mostly for startups, some SMBs. But I was tasked with, of course, biz dev guy. You got to scale this thing up, and we had this founder who's just brilliant. His name's Joe Chin. He's went to Columbia. He's a rocket scientist and he's an entrepreneur, like raised 20, 30 million, three exits. And
Wow.
so when he said, hey, like the guy, yeah, just a top tier guy, incredible network, really talented. He said, we're gonna do it through cold email. And I was just like, man, get out of here. That stuff doesn't work. And he's like, no, 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 it's gonna work. And I'll give you the high level, but you got to figure it out. You got to get it done. And so very long story short, I ran that motion for 2 years. And it's a crowded space, right? I mean, it's like everyone wants to make you a website, a mobile app. It was a tough offer to run. Um, but we did it. We figured it out and we did so well, that company got acquired, right? And
Wow.
so I'm like, okay, if it can work there, we're like in that kind of environment, I thought, this is really something. And this is
Yeah.
the next thing I'm going to do. So I firmed Auto up right away, instantly came out and the
Yeah.
rest was sort of history. So
Yeah.
here we are.
So you were initially skeptical about cold email. You're like, there's no freaking way because there's like that's way too saturated, or like what was it that you were thinking in your head?
Yeah, I just thought it didn't work, right? Because I was been an entrepreneur for nearly a decade, a young one, but like I
Yeah.
got pitched all the time, even what I was doing, and I saw this stuff. I'm like, this is garbage. This is bullshit. This is
Yeah.
junk. It didn't just, but I made the mistake. Well, just because it doesn't work on me
Yeah.
doesn't mean it doesn't work, right? That's like so. It was just wrong, and I was
Wow.
like, I couldn't be more happy to be more wrong about something, because it's a numbers game, it's a volume game. The people that were sending to me the stuff they were sending was junk, and there's a
Yeah.
different way to do it, a smarter way to do it, a way to do it which works. I was blind to that, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's I was
Yeah.
very wrong. We'll just
Yeah.
say it again,
Yeah. I mean, clearly, because now that's basically how you acquire new customers, and it's basically the business of what you do for other people, if I'm not mistaken, at AutoUp.
Exactly. Yeah, we run outbound, right? We run outbound for B2B companies, right? We do it for clients on all continents, and if you're B2B, we're industry agnostic. We'll do. A lot of guys are, stuck on the B2B SaaS. That's sexy, and I get it.
Yeah.
Sure, we do that too. But like, there's been a lot of success we've seen in like kind of unsexy, old school, tougher industries like logistics. And
Totally.
we had a client in north of the border in Toronto, largest architectural solar manufacture on Earth. They have a ton of different things they can do with their offers. So
Nice.
talking to solar installers and architects and just all kinds of things. Private equity, we love being in that space.
Nice.
Great offer, good for us,
Yeah.
fun motions to run, and they need GTM folks to like, for their deal sourcing.
Yeah.
So no, it's been good, man.
Yeah. So pretty awesome story going from just like not even knowing it to being able to really get it to a point of selling the company, now building your business off of it, and you're successful with it. You have a lot of clients, work with a lot of high level clients. You're sending millions of emails. So you know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So about
Hmm.
six years of outbound, 3.5 years in the business. Obviously now, I mean, there's like a lot of different options for different software that you can use for it. Like I'm sure you get bombarded with the latest and greatest. You've been with Instantly pretty much since Instantly was birth. Like why have you stayed with Instantly? Like what made you choose Instantly in the first place for your outbound, especially at the volume that you're sending now, and then just as your business has evolved, like so does your software, like, and it's stayed with you. Tell us more about your experience with that.
Yeah, so it started, very first client AutoUp had was a really high volume guy. I mean, he was pushing like 250,000 emails a month, had a different offers for different, audiences, which was great. And so to really get that kind of scale, instantly started. And so I booked a call because it was like on enterprise level. And I had a conversation with Nils, the CEO, of course, who's
Nice.
great. And I said, okay, so what about this? Does it tool to this? And it was just so clear as we got talking. He was really, really smart, really sharp, news stuff. It was a great conversation. And so, no, I was impressed right away. Once I got in there, the tool works. I love the UI. It's just clean. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to work out of, right? I think that's a not a small thing,
Yeah.
actually. But to just see the innovation, right, over years where these guys just nail features, but it's always been stable. Like there's
Yeah.
been other, fledgling options that sort of come and go. They push this feature or that, but I think Instantly has always been stable. They've supported me well. I mean, their support I think is second to none in the
Totally.
space. And now it's like, I think they're beyond just the stability of having a good core product, man. I think they're like on a Michael Jordan 95, 96 revenge tour where they're just like slaughtering people. The stuff that's coming
Dude.
down recently is bonkers. No one is close. No
Yeah.
one is close.
Yeah. Is there something specific that stands out to you? I mean, you've been using it for so long, like features wise, or like some key items that you love at as like a marketer using at the level that it needs to be used at.
Well, I like the new API a whole lot, but I mean I got a ping from the founders today, and it's like stuff I can't quite talk about.
Yeah.
You probably aware of, but like the things that are coming as well are going to be just absurd.
Yeah.
They've got features that they've built that are like their own SaaS products,
Yeah.
right? Even like website visitor,
Yeah.
de-anonymizing your web traffic. You can do that with Instantly, and then you can push the campaigns, and it's just wild. It's just so flexible. So many things you can do.
Yeah. I think another thing that you hit on too that's important for people maybe even considering Instantly is just how easy it is to use and get set up. Like everything is just like right in front of you. And if you are a beginner, I know you're not a beginner, it's all very, very second nature to you, but like the ease of it is just incredible. And then like what you said, the support is pretty wild. Slack community, Facebook, you can live chat with them. There's endless amounts.
Right. Well, and it's funny too, because like I mentioned, we push this infra product, right? We're trying to be as compatible as possible, like with other sequencers too, and just playing around with them, trying to see how they work. And it's just I'm grateful that Instantly is like, home base
Yeah.
from that perspective. There's all kinds of stuff that's just clunky. It's weird how they do it. I speak with our engineering team, like, really? But,
Yeah.
but even our devs who have done big projects for like, New Balance and Rug Doctor, and like they're really good. They give Instantly really, really high marks for just like the architecture of it, how they've
Nice.
implemented certain things. It's just great.
Yeah, killer, man. Cool. So if I'm watching this and I'm like, I don't really know about cold email. Like, cool, Ken, that's awesome that you've had success, but like, I don't know if it will work for me. I don't know if it's just like a viable way to actually do lead gen. I think I'm just gonna spend some money on ads or do cold DMs or just optimize a website or whatever the other channel that they could potentially be doing lead gen. Like, what successes have you had with cold email, or what would you say to that person who is kind of on the fence or just like a little bit weary?
Yeah, I mean, if your offer's B2B, you're in that sandbox and you can go wide, right, and push real volume, you got to do cold email. I mean, I think there could be some weird edge cases, and there's certain instances, probably, definitely where cold email's tough. Like you're trying to talk to, you know, a chief information security officer. We've struggled there,
Yeah.
right? There's certain offers, certain industries where it is difficult. Overwhelmingly, though, right? You can go wide. You're B2B. Got to do it. It's just it just scales laterally, right? You can get domains and inboxes. Just keep sending more. They say it about sales. It's a numbers game. It's true,
Yeah.
right? If you can, you're talking about ads, right? Where it's a one to many. We got this ADD age where easy to scroll past. But if someone says, "Hey, Austin, I can,"
Yeah.
and then they write something that's like got some tight packaging, it's a good offer, can make me money or make my life easier. Okay,
Yeah.
just send that a whole bunch. You're gonna Most people won't care, uh, but enough will, right? And then you can like start racking points on the board um, and just really run it up, right? Again, if you can go super wide, like it's kind of wild.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think also people think like, oh, will this work for me? Meaning like, oh, my, like what you mentioned, like my customer is not going to actually respond to a cold email. Obviously, you proved that wrong in many ways. Not only have you been doing it for the last 6+ years, but you've been able to book meetings with half of the Fortune 400 companies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, more than half of the Fortune 500
Fortune
for
500.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and we've got like some of them multiple times. Like I don't know, Johnson and Johnson, we got like 7 times. I don't know how for
Yeah.
different clients. Um, so yeah, it just goes to show that like anybody's gettable. We got Nvidia last year from. And it's funny because this is a subject line I don't love. It's probably one of the favorites, but I feel like it's personally it's overused. And we didn't even mean to send it out this way, but it was first name, quick question,
Yeah.
direct hit with Nvidia, and it wasn't like, hey, send more info. It was like, here's a calendar link. It was like,
No
holy
way.
shit, you know. So if you have something that's compelling,
Yeah.
anyone's in play.
Yeah.
Anyone's in play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, in the because the attention is there, and I think like what you said with like the ads, like I am a proponent of ads, like I don't discount ads, but just the ability to go to where the attention of decision makers are and like guarantee that you're going to be in front of the person, it's like kind of unbeatable, especially in like any
Right.
level.
Well, and right, because I think at the end of the day, right, people on some level, right, they live in their inboxes. They're gonna check this stuff,
Hmm.
right? So keep a short subject line, just follow the fundamentals, get in the primary,
Yeah,
um, and lead with value, and you got a shot.
yeah,
You got a shot with anybody.
yeah, 100%. Any notable things that would be worth sharing to people just from like your experience with cold email, as far as like success that you maybe you've had for yourself or with clients, like quantity of emails, like that kind of stuff, or any success metrics that you've been able to use specifically with cold email or achieve with cold email?
Yeah, I mean, looking at volume, for example, right? We send millions a month, right? We have one client where they're 1 million a month, right? It's sort of wild. I put something on LinkedIn, I think 2 3 days ago, and I don't post much, although I'm going to start doing that more. But these guys they're in the real estate business. Is about all I can say. So their TAM is huge,
Yeah.
and they were sending 40,000 emails a day. We're gonna bump that up a little bit, but they were getting a 1% reply rate and 50% positive, which they got a good offer, right?
Mhm.
And so, but it was generic. There was no like prompt to reach out. There was no like specific hook. There was no like unique positioning. It was like, hey, you do this, we can do this, right? And so we were targeting these real estate agents at a certain point within like the journey of a home sale. It's like, hey, congrats on getting this
Nice.
done, right? Okay, and then we can merge in certain elements of that home sale of the property. So it just was very relevant.
Solid.
Not so much personalized. I mean, it was, but like it was relevant. And then we took our positioning, wrapped it around that event, and so on our first day, we got 147 ops out of just 2,000 some sent,
Wow.
7% reply rate, 72% positive, and now we're just like taking this to the moon. It's
Killer.
bonkers, but it shows that like even somebody, I think they were successful, right? Clearly with that volume, that reply rate, that they were seeing success. We 7x'd it by just one strategic move. So that's the
Nice.
other thing I love about a cold email. With enough volume, you get so much feedback, you get data, right? And then you can just pivot and try different things, and just simple things can make like massive differences.
Yeah. And you can do it quickly too, which is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You don't need to go find
Exactly.
something or create something or things have to transition a lot. So, okay. So, what advice would you give to somebody maybe watching this who is like, dude, Ken, like you've had all this success with cold email. Maybe I've tried cold email and I'm just not like, I'm not getting the same results as you can. What are you going to say to that person to start getting similar results like you just shared with your client and that you've been able to have?
Yeah, I mean, talk to people, right? I mean, I think a great place to start, if they haven't been there, is like just simply the Instantly Accelerator, right? There's so
Mhm.
much content, the YouTube channel, the Facebook group, now the Slack channel. Uh, there's a lot of people that are happy to support. They'll roast their copy, right? Because you know this, there's a million variables with cold email,
Mhm.
like A to Z. You gotta kind of nail them all, where the motion can fall apart. But once you do those things, it's not impossible. It's not that daunting. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have experience. I was like them, right? I started from zero. I was a totally different kind of entrepreneur. In fact, I was one that, like I said, I hated the idea of cold. I thought it was stupid.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was going to be not a winner, and I just was so wrong. So
Yeah.
anybody can do it. Just figure the fundamentals, right? Stick to the knitting. Good infrastructure. Warm your stuff up. Keep your copy in a certain way. Use some spin tacks. Write well. Lead with value, and just go.
And just do it.
Start
Yeah.
testing, right? You don't have to buy a thousand. We don't have to have 1,000 inboxes to start. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be this like grand motion. It can be just a little test bed. Spend a few thousand. That's probably enough of a sample, and just keep iterating from there.
Yeah.
And user test too. I'll tell you this: when we started, um, we would user test like crazy, right? So I've
Mhm.
got friends who are in different positions, whether they're career entrepreneurs, Ivy grads, people who are like, publics, big different companies that the common thread is they got pitched all the time. And
Mhm.
so they were very kind to say, okay, we'll take a look at your stuff. And I told them I was doing like, okay, whatever, we're gonna humor our buddy. And they did it, but they chewed up so much
Mhm.
and they just made it better. Like show people your stuff.
Yeah.
Tell them what
Cool.
you're gonna do. Have them rip it apart.
Yeah. I like
Helped a
that.
lot.
Yeah. I like talking to people, getting support from the community. Obviously, instantly has a ton of options for that. And fundamentals. Yeah. I think also people try to recreate it or they try to get too eager and then just like blast it without even like being patient with it. And yeah, I like just sticking to the fundamentals and talking to people and just sticking with it because it works. If you work it, it'll work. So
Right. No, it's true, man. It's true. But yeah, there's like it depends. Like there's this you can go down all kinds of rabbit holes and you can see all these like weird over-engineered things which
yeah.
maybe can help things on the margins, maybe. But like you said, you just stick to the knitting, you do the basic stuff.
Hmm.
Probably gonna be all right if you got something compelling and that's worth
Yeah.
like, buying on the other side of it.
100%. Cool, man. Anything else that would be helpful for the people watching?
Oh, geez. No, I mean, I think again, well, if one thing, if you get past that initial like bit of information, right, and you're like, you're not just a novice, you're at least intermediate or advanced. Um, and this is sort of contrarian of my view of keeping it simple, but challenge everything,
Hmm.
right? There is on some level, there is in certain circles, there's like a hive mind here in this space of like one thing is repeated, it's taken as gospel. You can break patterns. You can do things that you shouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
We've done that a lot over the years. Cold email it's gotten harder, for sure. But I still think like, and I learned from our clients too, who tell us we don't want to do it this way. Can we at
Hmm.
least try it and test? And I'll say, okay, I don't think it's a good idea, but we'll have that discussion. We'll be open about it. We'll
Hmm.
run a test. And sometimes they're right. And so I
Hmm.
think, not having an ego about it,
Yeah.
definitely is important. I'm the expert, so to speak, but being able to like give an attaboy to a client who had a great call out.
Yeah.
Like for example, we had this guy who was a used to work for LinkedIn. He was a VP of mindfulness there, right? Led a
Mm.
led a team of 1,000 people. Interesting
Mm.
guy. He's a writer, executive coach, and so he wanted to target, like really large super enterprise companies to do like in-person culture building workshops, right? Not an easy ask. And so again, broke all the rules. I said, let's write short and sweet, keep it tight, keep it light. He wrote a 287 word novella in his
Oh
first
my
email.
gosh.
Yeah. First, and by the way, you know how some people dog on saying stuff like "never say hope this finds you all,"
Yeah.
right? Which I don't care. I don't think that matters. But his first sentence was, "I hope this finds you smiling,"
Oh
with a
my
smiley face.
gosh.
Yeah, I said, "Don't do that." And now this was him just knowing his customer base, like knowing his ACP intimately. So we were focused on people that cared about like servant leadership and conscious capitalism. And
Sure.
we scraped LinkedIn groups that were people,
Wow.
that was the title LinkedIn group, right? Um, and he couldn't have been more right, and he
No
nailed
way.
it. And those guys cared, and they're like, "I'd love this. This resonated so much. I'd love to speak."
Oh my
You know what I
gosh.
mean? So, um, everybody in the world who tweets and talks and posts about cold email will say your CTA
Yeah.
must be this, and it
Yeah.
must your email must be under 80 words.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, mostly, probably, but there's nuance, right? And
Yeah.
like, push back on that. If you think you're
100%.
right, you know your product, you know your offer better than most. So like,
100%.
break the
Prove it.
rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Let the numbers do the talking.
Right.
Ken, thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate you. We'll
Yeah,
link your LinkedIn down below in the description. And yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate you using Instantly. Appreciate your time and sharing some wisdom with us.
my man. Enjoyed it, Austin.
See you, man.
Hey, thanks so much.